Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Philippe Danielides, and he's a certified life coach, recovered lawyer, speaker, workshop facilitator at Inner Current Coaching. I am so excited to have this conversation today. Thank you so much for coming to the show today, Philippe.
Thanks a lot, Bryce. It's so good to be with you.
Yeah, I think I butchered your last name. Unfortunately, I was trying, but
No, you did. You did great. I can see it in people's eyes when they get started, and there's a moment of fear where they're like, "I'm in it, but I'm not sure how I'm going to get to the end." But you did pretty well. I give you an A minus.
Nice,
Yeah,
man. We still passed the class.
yeah. No,
you
you're
know,
doing great.
Excellent. And before we go any further, for those watching, if you have maybe been looking for a place where people are improving themselves and helping others, I recommend you go and check out our free community. I'm going to put a link either above or below. It's probably the best place for you. Now, Philippe, what was life like before you got into coaching? And really, what was the catalyst that brought you into the space?
Sure. I was a corporate lawyer in New York City, working on Wall Street at one of the top firms. My life looked the way that it was supposed to, right? Making good money, nice apartment, all of the boxes checked. But I was, going into my office every day and closing the door and putting my head in my hands and then typing in random things into Google, hoping to find something to, I think, address that emptiness that I felt. And I probably would have done that. This was now 5-6 years ago, and I probably would have continued along on that path. But I would say, luckily, in hindsight, I got sick. I wound up having a thyroid issue. They discovered what was thankfully a benign tumor, but I wound up having to have surgery. And in the recovery of that surgery, it was just such a shock to my system and to my body that it actually shook me out of this hypnosis of, oh, I just have to keep grinding and moving forward, and this is it. And that was really the first time, it was around age 30, that I just kind of picked my head up and looked around and started asking some, I think, important questions, like what the hell am I doing? And why am I doing it? And that was really the catalyst that brought these really important questions into my life that led me eventually to where I am now.
Let me ask you this question. So, what problems are people generally going through when they work with you nowadays?
I think that they're at that place of where I was before, my the intervention, my own body's intervention, where they're high achieving, they've been really successful in whatever field they're in, and so they've been used to, throughout their life, doing well and moving forward. And they're at a place where everyone keeps telling them, like, how, congratulating them on their success and how well everything's going, but they just feel that something isn't quite right. And they've gotten to a point where the desire to make a change is there, but they either have no idea what that means or what direction to head in, or they have an inkling, but it's absolutely terrifying to them. So they're sitting in that space where there's, let's say, the desire is awake in them, but they're not moving. And that's the tension that they're just sitting in every day. Does that make sense?
It does. That's just a great point, and kind of that inkling and, maybe urging. And that's what I see a lot today. So can you maybe give some tips as to how they can start listening to that? Because, maybe the fear comes from not having a backup plan, or being afraid that maybe they're not really sure of what that inkling actually is. Maybe can you give some tips on how they can maybe start to be more aware of it?
Sure. And I've been speaking to a lot of lawyers recently, beyond my clients, doing just some like survey and asking them questions around where they're blocked. And one of the most common answers that comes up, that it doesn't surprise me because I was also in that place, is around confidence. What they say is, they're right, they're afraid of the unknown, they're risk averse, but really what I often see is that they're almost waiting to feel confident before they take that step. And maybe you're already there and like hip to this idea, but it's actually like they've got it in reverse. The truth is that the actions come first and the confidence comes later. And so what I tell people is to just unburden themselves from the expectation that they should feel, ready to go and confident before they take that first step in whatever direction. So that's one really important tip. I think it frees a lot of people up to begin taking action and experimenting. And the second tip that I would give is it's okay if you don't know exactly what it is you want. You don't need to have clarity on your destination before you start moving. It's like if you walk into a dark room, all right, and you can't turn on the light, right? There's something in there that you want. It's like, well, how do we enter a dark room? We slow down, we just kind of feel around, we take a small step, we put our hands out, and we touch and we find our way. And that's a perfectly good way to engage in a search for what you want when you're not quite sure exactly what it is that you're looking for.
Kind of thinking about this kind of time, right, that we're kind of in, like with the quarantine, the pandemic, not being able to really be around the same influences or, negativity that we might have been before. I think that's given a lot of people time to think, which in some cases is a great thing. In other cases, it might not be the best thing.
Yeah.
Maybe what's one of your biggest takeaways from this time, the slowdown time?
I think that for a lot of people, moving fast and being really busy and filling their time is, it's great to have things, to do, but it's also a really useful avoidance strategy for sitting with what it is that you're feeling. And so what I've heard from a lot of, friends, former colleagues, and clients is that this time has forced them to slow down. And in that space, and for the first time, they may be encountering those really uncomfortable feelings that they didn't have the time or the space to really reckon with while they've been busy moving ahead. And it can be really scary and really uncomfortable. And as humans, right, it's in our nature to always avoid discomfort and run.
Mm-hmm.
That's been limited. And so what I tell them is the fact that you're feeling that way now, that you're scared or anxious and that you don't want to feel that way is also okay. That's normal. But if you can give yourself some time to ease into it, and there's mindful breathing, there's just taking some time in the morning to chill, there are really simple things that we can do just to build our capacity to sit in that space more and to learn from what's there, because there's a lot of richness and wisdom in that space if we give ourselves permission to hang out there a bit longer than we would if we had an escape.
Yeah, because then the more that you get used to it, the less and less that it bothers you. That's cool. Yeah, that's one thing we do for our anxiety clients too, kind of sitting in that discomfort. Wow, that's great. Let me ask you this question. So do you have anything new going on? Any cool, I think we were talking before about some of your coaching that you're doing that's, really needed right now. Can you share with us?
Yeah, so my work primarily is I work with one-on-one clients, but what I've been hearing more from people is kind of a desire for more like other options. And so right now I'm actually working on what's going to be a group program around confidence and how to build confidence, but in the right sequence. So like taking action, building psychological flexibility and resilience so that when you get to the other side of that program, you can kind of take that same process and apply it to any area of your life. And so that's something that I'm working on, that I'm going to be putting out into the world in the next few months.
Nice. You know, maybe where can people go to learn more about you? Where can they go to kind of follow along with what you have?
Sure. They can go to innercurrentcoach.com. That's inner, like inside, current, like the water coach. .com, right? Yeah, that's a good place. Or if they want to follow me on LinkedIn at Philippe Danielides, we drop some, videos and hope not too cliched, inspiring life coachy things, but try to offer something that things that are useful and immediately accessible, because I think that's uh, what is most helpful to a lot of people who are on their own right now. It's really small things that they can implement that feel achievable in the moment to begin building that momentum.
Nice. Yeah, I think some of the stuff we talked about actually sounded pretty similar to what was in one of your videos that I saw in the past. You know, maybe do you have a video that people can start on? Like, what's if they only saw one video, which one would they start on?
Oh man, that's it's like, what's your favorite movie? I I think one of the favorites is from a while ago, and you go on my website at the bottom, there's an archive of videos, is about lions and what
Yeah.
we can learn from lions. I don't know if you saw that one. I think that's uh, a favorite that people tell me. Should I leave the mystery, or do you want me to speak a little bit about?
Um, you see, because if we tell everybody, then they might not be able to like, because then they'll feel like they know it. How about this, guys? Go watch his lion video.
I watched the lion video.
Especially like if right now that's what you've been looking for, you know. And for those watching, you know, we thoroughly hope that you enjoyed watching this. You know, if you again been without your support system, maybe the people around you right now in quarantine are not the people who are supporting your visions or your dreams or your goals. Okay, I've cultivated such a positive group of people that want to see each other improve and really reach their goals. So if that's what you've been missing, come and join us by clicking the link either above or below the video. We would love to have you in there. Kind of a bonus question, or two bonus questions for Philippe. You know, part of having clarity and being able to think is thinking about vision. You know, maybe what does the vision look like for you for as far down the road you'd like to maybe think or talk about?
Sure. Yeah. Big, but a really important question. I would say, so I'm currently living in New York City. I've been there for a while. My vision longer term is to spend more time writing and teaching. It's just personally, I think coming into a space where people can share ideas together and share experiences together is really important. The one-on-one work, I love it and it's really essential, but I think right now, like the place that we're in, I think that the way forward is culture change. And changing culture is by definition built on relationship, and it happens in this space in between. And so really finding ways to focus more of my work on creating those spaces where people can come together. And we were talking about this before, and last year when we connected, bringing people into closer connection with nature, which is another big focus of my life and my work. So bringing city people out into the forest in a safe way to slow down and connect with one another and see if we can come up with a healthier and more life-affirming story that we can all live in.
Nice. Yeah, I started doing kind of grounding work, you know,
Yeah,
on a micro dose or whatever, you know. So I'm kind of expanding. So that's kind of cool that you're doing that, you know.
amazing,
Excellent.
amazing.
You know, and for those watching, we thoroughly hope that you enjoyed watching this as much as we enjoyed creating it. Feel free to hit the share button so other people can get some great value as well. And the final question, I think this is actually going to be probably the most interesting answer. So, you know, coming from that corporate lawyer background to where you are now, I'm sure that your definition of success has kind of changed. You know, maybe
Yeah.
what does success mean to you at this moment in time?
Well, success for me is feeling that I'm fully engaged in whatever it is that I'm doing.
Mm.
So it used to be right outcome results specific. I measured success by whether I achieved a certain thing, and I still have goals in my, business, things that I want to reach, and that's all good. But I would say day-to-day success is really the feeling that I am putting myself 100% into whatever it is that I'm doing.
Excellent.
I hope that was interesting. Is that
Well, yeah, because everybody, that's a very different extreme from what like probably what people expected, like the stereotypical lawyer, to
yeah.
now the life coach. So that's kind
Yeah,
of
well,
cool.
I think whatever we're doing, like going all in, it's a way, I think, to find fulfillment. I mean, achieving goals is great and it can be really fulfilling and gratifying, but then you achieve it, right? And then maybe you've had this experience, you've achieved a really big goal, and then the next day, you're like, oh, or like the week following can be a really like a dark, it can be kind of a bummer, and you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
what to do next? And so achieving goals is great, but I think being fully engaged day to day and going all in is a way that I've found for myself to find fulfillment and joy as I am striving toward the goals that I set for myself. And
Mm.
it's a daily effort. But
Yeah, that's a very great point. 'Cause like it's almost like you're going on top of a mountain, and then most people have like the letdown once you hit the goal. Or for my case, I have hit the goal, and then I parachute down, kind of coast. So when I kind of switch it on the day to day and finding joy in that, and it's like you don't have those coasts, and it's a lot more fun.
yeah,
Excellent.
sure.
Thanks again for your time. I really appreciate talking to you, getting to know you a little better, Philippe.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. This is fun.
You're welcome. Once again, for those watching, have a great day. Join the community. We're done recording in 3 and 2 and 1.